Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the Drogar campaign and the adventures of Sleepy Stonyhorn, the Dwarf Ranger, who is representing the needs of Forge Lord Shram, from Mount Hotenow, which is just west of Neverwinter and right above the Neverwinter Forest. So he has traveled. So Sleepy has traveled to Phandalin, and he has been rejected for an order for more lumber from Woodcutter Demest and all the woodcutters. He met with the Warforged K4 and put in an order for coal to be delivered up to Mount Hotenow. And at this point, he goes to see Harbin Wester to put in his order, to give Harbin Wester his letters. But Harbin Wester's assistant blocks him and says, you have to come tomorrow at 10 a.m. because, Mayor Wester is very busy, like just kind of making him wait, flexing his mayor power, with his assistant. And so at this point, Sleepy goes back to the Stonehill Inn, and he finds that the Stonehill Inn is absolutely packed. And the reason why is there is a bard that is coming to play at the Stonehill Inn that night, and she is a human bard who has been traveling Forgotten Realms, and she's extremely popular right now, and her name is Gray. And Gray is going to be performing at the Stonehill Inn tonight, and Sleepy has been given a room, and he is welcome at the Stonehill Inn, which is kind of pretty wild right now, because the Stonehill Inn is actually not even taking in miners and woodcutters, because the whole place is packed with nobles that have traveled from Waterdeep and from Neverwinter to see Gray that night. So Stony goes over, and one of the serving lasses, one of the women who serve in the Stonehill Inn, one of the servant women, says to Stony, hey, going out back, we have some potatoes and some onions, and even some beef that we decided was kind of close to date, and we're not going to eat them, but I think your owlbear would enjoy them. So he's been getting extra food for Drogar, his owlbear. So he goes out back to collect this food and then take it over to Drogar and feed Drogar for the day, right? Now, actually, Drogar is able to hunt on his own, but this has kind of become a little bit of a ritual. Actually, multiple people from the city have been starting to go out to feed Drogar, and Drogar is getting very comfortable with the woodcutters and the miners, and he's kind of circling the city and just waits for Sleepy on the outside. So Sleepy goes out back of the Stonehill Inn, and he starts looking around for this food for Drogar, and this barrel comes like shattering past him, like flipping and kind of shattering pieces of wood off. And it then shatters against the stables, right? This old barrel that are there. And he sees this human ranger who is very angry. So she's a young woman. She's a human, and she's a ranger. And she's about between 25 and 30 years old. And she's very angry. And she's behind the Stonehill Inn. And it's clear that she thought she had some space to just kind of, vent and get her anger out. And she was seeking some solace, some alone time. Excuse me. And so she goes out, and and she finds herself in this space, and she's angry, and she's just kind of kicking stuff around out back. And so Sleepy says, hey, what's wrong, right? And so the girl comes over, and she takes long, and they had the hardcore player who plays Sleepy Stonyhorn did a really great job of just doing a great job of like kind of digging in and having a really great conversation. But I'm going to summarize it for you, right? So she says, hey, and I'm going to make it shorter than their conversation was. So she's like, I'm Chella, and I'm very angry right now, and the reason why is my good friend Riblax is inside, right? And he is a fighter. And me and Riblax are here in Stonehill, and we should be celebrating the completion of a great adventure, and we should be mourning our friend who died in this adventure. But instead, Riblax is very upset and is about to lose a lot, right? And so, and so Stoney's like, what? What's going on? So Chella explains. So Chella, human ranger. Riblax, human fighter. Okay, both of them are alive. Ithor, gnome wizard. Okay, so Ithor is this gnome wizard is dead. Okay, now the reason he's dead is Harbin Wester paid 1,800 gold, 600 gold apiece, to have this team of adventurers, three adventurers, a human ranger, a human fighter, and a gnome wizard. They fought a purple worm, and the reason why they did this was they found the Warforged found that a purple worm was nesting close to the mines, right? And so they got enough information that they knew there was a big dangerous monster, but they didn't know what it was. And these Warforged they used to be warriors, right? But they're literally doing everything they can to forget their warrior ways and become miners and build this mining skill set, right? So they're doing everything they can to abandon their fighting skills. So they didn't feel, strong enough to go and deal with this monster because they're literally trying to transition away from that skill set, right? Trying to be, a profession rather than, professional killers, right? So, but these adventurers, these are professional killers, right? This is what they do, right? So they come in and Chella, Riblax, and Ithor find the purple worm, and they go to battle it. Ithor is killed in this battle, okay? And he is now buried outside of Phandalin, right outside the city, okay? Now, at this point, Chella's like, I got my 600 gold pieces, and Riblax has his 600 gold pieces, and I have Ithor's 600 gold pieces because he's dead, right? But the problem is, over the last 2 nights, this terrible woodcutter has 2 nights ago, this woodcutter, this gambling woodcutter, was able to gamble away from Riblax 120 gold. Last night he got 40 gold. So Riblax has lost 160 gold, and he will not leave with me to go get our next adventure or to go get a new adventure for our team. He wants to stay here, and he's convinced he can beat this woodcutter at gambling. So he's waiting here at the Stonehill Inn, and he's waiting for the concert to be over tonight, and at midnight, 2 a.m., then they're just going to gamble all night, and he's probably going to lose 100 or 200 gold again. And here's the problem, right? None of that is really a problem. But frankly, my friend, and Chella says, and all this took longer to kind of sort out. And I'm giving you the short version, right? I know it doesn't seem short. Thank you for your patience. All right, here we go. So she says, listen, none of this is the problem. The problem is Ithor was my friend and Riblax's friend. We fought really hard, and we killed that purple worm together, right? And we got this 1,800 from Harbin Wester, and we're trusted by Harbin Wester now, right? And Ithor died nobly in battle, but I'm very upset about the death of Ithor. Riblax is upset about the death of Ithor, and I'm telling you right now, if that woodcutter cheats him out of another 100 gold tonight, I will murder him. I will murder him. I will take this short sword, she draws out her short sword, and she says, and I'm going to cut his face in half and then hack his brain apart. I will murder him tonight, right? And so I'm upset because I'm not looking forward to murdering this poor woodcutter, because I think he's really nothing more than a woodcutter who's really good at gambling. But I ain't going to watch it again. I'm not going to watch this woodcutter grin and rob my friend, right? So I don't know how to solve this problem, and my real problem is that I'm going to murder somebody tonight, and I'm really frustrated by that. All right, so at this point, Sleepy Stony going to go, wait. One, thank you for telling me all this, right? He goes, I'm an adventurer too. I travel between Mount Hotenow and Phandalin, and I represent Forge Lord Shram from Mount Hotenow, and I've been where you've been, right? I've lost dwarven brothers and dwarven sisters to fighting creatures under the ground. I've literally been where you're at, and I also have had my days where I've struggled with anger, right? And I want you, and I'm going to help you, right? So listen, you and Riblax need an adventurer to go to immediately, right? You need to leave and you need to help me. I'm going to the Emerald Enclave, and we're going to try to negotiate a deal with the Emerald Enclave to let the woodcutters get more space where they can cut wood in the Neverwinter Forest. This is going to be very hard, and even traveling to the Emerald Enclave is going to be dangerous. There's wolves, there's cliffs, the forest is dangerous, right? So you go tell Riblax that in the morning. You go tell Riblax. Now I got to wait until Harbor Wester to give him his letters tomorrow, but you tell Riblax that he needs to get sleep. And you guys need to get provisioned because we are heading out at 5 a.m, and he ain't got no time to be doing this gambling, right? Because both of you have been hired, right? So I'm going to take this problem off your hands, right? Oh, and he says, and you know what? You don't even have to talk to Riblax. I'm going to talk to Riblax. I will tell him that I'm hiring both of you and that he has no time for gambling tonight because you guys have a mission, right? And she's like, hey, this would really be helpful. Riblax is a good fighter, and he's sick of hearing me, and we have a personal relationship, and it could really be helpful to hear this from another person, right? And Sleepy even says, I'll even advance you guys some gold on your payment to help me with this mission, right? So one, I was really impressed with how the hardcore player just is very okay, this is the adventure, I'm going to engage with this. And I'll have to say, I'm actually a little shocked because generally I have groups and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to do the adventure you just served up on a platter, right? Like I want to change it, or I want to reject it, or I want to go in a different direction. All those things are okay, but it is just kind of shocking to see a player jumping in and immediately engaging with the adventures that are in front of them, and even making adventures of their own, right? Like very naturally and organically from the narrative. I did have this player who was really adamant about running off and leaving the rest of the party, and also just meh on every adventure idea that came from the dungeon master, right? So it's pretty shocking to just have this really robust response from a player, which is really nice. So and then he's like, and so at this point, Sleepy Stonyhorn has, and then he makes persuasion rolls for Riblax, and he gets it done, right? And Riblax is like, okay, listen, you've given me 50 gold for to hire me for adventure. I'm not going to gamble tonight. I'm going to be ready to go with you at 5 a.m. in the morning. And it feels like he's like, when there was no direction to go, right? Then he wanted to stay in and help this woodcutter, right? Or actually, he wanted, when there was nowhere to go, he wanted to. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I gotta back this up. I got that wrong. Apologies. That's not the order that it happened. So actually, rather than going to talk to Riblax, that's right, he didn't. So Stony did not go to talk to Riblax. I apologize. I got that wrong. Stony did not go to talk to Riblax. He said, "Listen, Chella, I'm going to handle this. I know the leader of the woodcutters, and I'm going to go talk to the leader of the woodcutters, and he's going to tell that woodcutter who's been gambling with Riblax to refuse to gamble with him. I'm going to get this handled at the woodcutter level, right?" So then Sleepy Stonyhorn goes and talks to Woodcutter Demest and says, "Listen, I need you to cut this off. I need you to cut this Woodcutter off, and not have him take any more gold from this adventure, right?" And so, but Woodcutter Demest pushes back, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Slow your roll there, Sleepy." He's like, "Listen, this really isn't your concern." And Sleepy's like, "Why isn't it my concern?" He goes, "Well, listen. This is Phandalin, right? And that Stonehill Inn, right? That burns down every 3 years when adventurers get in a fight and a wizard casts a fireball and catches the whole place on fire. And do you know who rebuilds it? The miners and the woodcutters, right? Do you know how much loss the miners and the woodcutters of Phandalin have had from adventurers, right? So this woodcutter that you're talking about, yeah, he's a really good gambler. And you know what? He's actually earned thousands of dollars. He's not even a good woodcutter. He goes out and he cuts a couple twigs for us, right? And frankly, he's not even really a good woodcutter at all. He barely works 1 or 2 days a week. But what he does do is he fleeces adventurers who come here all the time, right? Out of thousands of gold pieces. And you know what he does with those gold pieces? He gives it back to our woodcutter community. And he's really good because he can tell, because he knows tells, right? And we've been taking hundreds and even thousands of gold pieces with this guy for months from you adventurers. And you know what? It's perfectly fine. Because you guys roll into our town and cause us all kinds of trouble. And you know what? You're saying this woodcutter's going to lose his gold. So what? He's an adventurer. He can earn more. So the reality is that woodcutter is going to fleece him tonight. And that's that, right? Like, hey, I appreciate you helping us with this Emerald Enclave thing, but this is bigger than you. It's when the woodcutters are beating the adventurers for once. And our community is comfortable with that, right? So Sleepy's like, wait a second, listen. I understand exactly what you just said. But I met this human ranger, Chella, and the problem is, if that happens tonight, she's going to hack him apart with her sword, right? She's going to murder him tonight. That's going to happen, right? And the reason I know that is I had an open and honest, transparent conversation with her. And I can tell you right now, your woodcutter ain't ready to handle that, right? So if you want a woodcutter dead, you can let him go fleece that adventure. But part of fleecing adventurers is they got weapons and they got power and they actually know how to fight, right? These guys aren't, they're only, these adventurers you're dealing with, when they swing a blade, it ain't to hit a tree that doesn't move. She will murder him this evening if that happens again. So you need to listen to me, right? Now, I did a persuasion check, and Sleepy Stonyhorn did a great persuasion check and easily passed it. And Woodcutter's the mess is like, oh yeah, maybe he takes the night off. In fact, he will take the night off. And so that's how. And then Sleepy Stonyhorn goes back to Chella and says, listen, that woodcutter is not even going to be here, right? He's being sent out on a woodcutting adventure, on a woodcutting excursion right now. He will not even be, he is like, his bag is packed and he's already half a mile into the woods, right? And he will not even be here for Riblax to gamble against tonight. So your problem is solved, and I want you and I want Riblax ready to roll at 5 a.m, right? And then Sleepy's like goes back to the assistant of Harbin Western, goes, hey, Harbin I need to see Harbin immediately, and then gives Harbin Wester all of the letters, right? And Harbin Wester gives him 100 gold pieces, which then I was amazed at this. Sleepy Stonyhorn split that with the two of them. Great session. Thank you for letting me recap it with it. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on Drogar campaign. Looking forward to hearing yours.